So I have a Trailmaster MB200. It's the first generation. If you're not familiar with them, they're very similar to a Baja Warrior, except they have rear suspension as well as the front suspension, but same size tires, same engines. This is actually off a Baja Warrior. These bikes come with like just a fake empty, at least the first generation comes with a fake empty metal one gas tank. Doesn't store anything or do anything. But one of the problems that I've been having with this bike ever since I've had it is the chain just keeps falling off no matter what I do. And this is not the stock sprocket. I think, gosh, I can't remember, I think it's a 64 tooth chain or sprocket. I think they come with a 38. But I just kept having the chain fall off. I primarily ride it off-road on the trails, and it would just seem like I would ride for maybe 20 minutes and it would fall off. So I'd have to get off and tighten the chain adjusters and keep on riding. And so what I finally found that seemed to be working now is I first added this right here, which is basically a chain guard. This is actually off of a Honda XR80, and what that does is it keeps sticks from coming in and getting between the chain and the sprocket, because if a stick comes in there, it would just come right off. So that helped a whole lot because it stops sticks and things like that from getting in there. It doesn't exactly fit, so I had to take this piece of steel and I cut it and I put 2 holes in it that I could attach this to, and then I attached it right here to where the rear shock goes. There's really, at least on the first generations, there's nothing really there to mount it to, so I had to kind of fabricate something to make it work. So that has helped a whole lot. The other thing that helped is I added this spring-loaded chain tensioner, and the first generations do not come with one. I don't think the second generations do either. I got this off of eBay. It's made of steel. Even this part is steel. And then I actually got this spring at Ace Hardware, and I just kind of attached it to this thing. There's like a plate that goes here, like a cover. I just took it off because I wanted to be able to breathe a little bit better so it wouldn't keep the heat in anyway. So I just kind of hooked it onto there. Then I added this to make sure it stays on. Had to drill a hole in the chain adjuster or the chain tensioner itself to attach the spring to, but it's spring loaded and it seems to work really well. Again, there's no place to put it. I added these, the stock foot pegs are up front here, and on the second generation they have a second set. I don't know if they're here or they're farther back for a passenger. I found for myself I like these here because if I have to, again, I ride off-road, so if I have to stand up, I can keep my weight on here, which keeps the weight on the back tire. First of all, it's very hard to stand on that, and even if you do, your back tire is just going to spin because there's no weight. So I just attached these here. There just was a bolt here, and so I just have a very long bolt that goes in here. This is actually for like a, bicycle rear foot peg, and put the bolt through, and then I attach this chain tensioner on there. And just because I also need the chain tensioner, I want it to move. I had another chain tensioner on here, but it wasn't spring loaded, and it just didn't seem to work as well. It got bent actually, and then it just made things worse because then it would cause the chain to come right off. So this setup seems to work pretty good. So there you go. So if you're riding your Warrior or Trailmaster off-road and you're having a ton of problems with the chain keep falling off, I suggest to try these 2 options. One final thing that I find that really helps to keep these chains from falling off is to make sure to lube your chain. I probably maybe lube it, if I'm riding it off-road, probably every hour or so. Maybe every ride, just kind of depends on how much you're using it, what type of terrain you're riding it on. But all I use is just regular, some 5W30, 10W40, doesn't really matter, synthetic oil, and just kind of put it on a rag like this, put a little bit on there, and then I just run the chain through the rag and let the bike, as it moves, kind of move the chain along with it. Also a good job, or a good idea between riding is to clean your chain off. You know, it's better to do it after every time you ride. You know, power washer would be fine. But just get all the dirt and stuff off. It's usually better to do that before you oil it. Of course, let it dry off first and then go ahead and oil it. And I find that these things really help keep the chains on.